Claire, what does that even mean? I asked, my voice shaking as she folded another shirt into her suitcase. What do you want me to let go of? Us. Our marriage. Everything we built? She didn't look up. Evan, please don't make this harder. Not making anything harder, I said, stepping closer. You're the one packing. You're the one suddenly acting like the last 6 years were nothing. Yeah, they weren't nothing, she whispered. But things change. It's not like this, I said. Not without a reason. Claire, talk to me. Tell me what's going on. If I did something wrong, just say it. She finally lifted her head, but her eyes looked distant, like she wasn't really seeing me. I don't love you anymore. The words hit me so hard I forgot how to breathe. You don't. Claire, come on. You can't just drop that on me and expect me to nod and say, okay. Not asking for your approval, she said, this time with a strange calm in her voice. I'm asking for space. Space for what? To think? To cool off? We can do that here. You don't have to leave. No, she said, zipping her suitcase. I do. I grabbed the edge of the suitcase before she could pull it away. Why? Why tonight? Why like this? She sighed, the same tired sigh she used when she was annoyed with me. Because dragging it out would only make it worse.
Ow.
Dragging what out? I demanded. Claire, this feels rehearsed. You're talking like someone coached you. Her eyes flickered, and for a moment I saw something fear. Guilt? But it disappeared just as quickly. I'm leaving, Evan. Please don't make this ugly. I'm trying to save us, I said. You're acting like we didn't promise each other forever. She pulled the suitcase free from my hands. Forever doesn't always last. My chest felt like it was caving in. Claire, please, just sit with me. 5 minutes. Tell me what changed. No, she said again, firmer this time. I can't do this with you. Not tonight. I reached for her hand, but she stepped back. Claire, look at me. I am, she said quietly, and that's why I know I have to go. I stared at her, speechless. The woman who once told me she couldn't sleep without hearing my heartbeat was now acting like I was a stranger taking up too much space in her life. Is there someone else? I finally asked. Her lips parted for a second, but she looked away before answering. It's not about that. That wasn't a no. It's not about that, she repeated, grabbing her coat. Evan, please. Just let me go. Let you go. My voice cracked. I'm not trying to cage you. I'm asking for honesty. She swallowed hard. Sometimes honesty only makes things worse. That's not how marriage works, I said. We face things together. She shook her head and walked toward the door. I followed, my heartbeat pounding so loud I could barely think. Claire, I said, my hand hovering near her arm but not touching. If you walk out now, everything changes. You know that, right? I know, she whispered. Then why? Why are you doing this to us? She reached for the doorknob. Goodbye, Evan, Claire. But she opened the door before I finished saying her name. The cold night air hit my face as she stepped outside, pulling her suitcase behind her. The streetlights cast a pale glow over the pavement, and that's when I saw it, a black sedan parked a few feet away. The engine was running. A man sat behind the wheel, tall, broad-shouldered. Shadows hid most of his face. But I saw the way his eyes lifted when he spotted her. More importantly, I saw her expression change, softening, brightening. Like someone had just lifted a weight off her chest. She had looked at me like that once. Claire, I said again, my voice barely a whisper. Who is that? She didn't answer the Mun Lucas, so I didn't know his name, yet stepped out of the car and opened the passenger door for her. He didn't even glance at me, as if I wasn't worth acknowledging. Claire walked toward him without hesitation. Claire, I called out, louder this time. She turned back only once. Not with sorrow. Not with regret. With relief. I'm sorry, she said, but this is goodbye. Then she slid into his car. I stood there on the sidewalk, watching the taillights fade into the dark. Feeling something inside me break so quietly I almost didn't notice at first. I didn't know who he was. I didn't know how long he'd been in her life. I didn't know why she chose him over me, but I recognized that look on her face. It was the look she had the night she first fell in love with me, and now it was for someone else. I told myself I'd survive. I told myself I'd move on. But as I closed the door behind me and walked back into the apartment that still smelled like her perfume, I realized I had no idea how deep her betrayal really went. I sank onto the couch, my hands trembling as silence settled around me. My thoughts spun, chasing answers she refused to give, replaying the night and wondering when the first cracks had begun forming the weeks after. Claire left, felt like they were melting into one long, heavy blur, and every morning I woke up wondering if I had already lived the day before. When I dragged myself into the garage, Mark glanced at me and said, "Man, you look like you haven't slept in a week." I muttered, "I haven't really," and he wiped his hands on a rag and shook his head. "You gotta talk to someone, Evan. This isn't healthy." I leaned against the tool cabinet and whispered, "What am I supposed to say?" My wife walked out and didn't even look back. Mark frowned. "Then say that." I shook my head. "I can't even understand it myself." During lunch break, he sat beside me on the curb. "Delete her number," he said. "Start over." I shook my head. I tried. I stared at the screen for 10 minutes and couldn't press delete. "Hey," he sighed. "You're killing yourself slowly," I whispered. "I'm already dead." Mark didn't laugh. He just placed a hand on my shoulder and said, "You're not. You're hurt. That's different." After work, I drove home with the radio off. The silence felt louder than anything, and when I walked into the apartment, the emptiness punched me again. I tossed my keys on the counter and whispered, "You really left, didn't you?" I opened the drawer where we kept old photos. I held one up of us at the lake, her hair blowing across her face as she laughed at something I said. I whispered, "Was any of it real?" My throat tightened. That night, my phone lit up. I grabbed it so fast, I nearly dropped it, but it was only a promotion text from the phone company. I said out loud, "Why did I think it'd be you?" I tossed the phone onto the couch and rubbed my face. I tried again to delete her number. My thumb hovered over the button. "Just do it," I whispered, but I still couldn't. A few days later, Hannah finally called. I answered with a mixture of hope and dread. "Hey," she said softly. "I wanted to check on you," I exhaled shakily. "You know where she is?" Hannah hesitated. "I haven't talked to her," I frowned. "Not at all?" She let out a slow breath. "She's shutting everyone out." "I'm sorry, Evan," said. "I keep thinking she'll explain something." "Anything," Hannah replied. "I don't think she knows how to face you." I whispered, "Why?" "What did I do?" She didn't answer for several seconds, and the silence weighed heavily. "Evan," she finally said, "sometimes people run from guilt, not from love." My stomach dropped. "What guilt?" Hannah's voice cracked. "I wish I could tell you. I really do." She ended the call, leaving me more confused than before. Later that week, I ran into Mrs. Dalton outside the building. She smiled gently. "Evan, dear, are you holding up?" I forced a smile. "Trying." She tapped her cane lightly. "I saw Claire yesterday." My heart dropped. "Where?" She pointed toward the main road. "Downtown." She wasn't alone. I swallowed. "The same man from the night she left?" Her eyes softened. "I'm afraid so." I felt my stomach twist. "Did she look happy?" Mrs. Dalton hesitated, then nodded. "I'm sorry, dear," I whispered. "No, it's fine. Thank you for telling me." She squeezed my arm gently before walking away. I stood there for a long moment, staring at the sidewalk. I whispered, "So that's the truth." When I returned to my apartment, I sat on the floor with my back against the wall, replaying her words. I kept hearing Claire's calm voice telling me to move on. I muttered, "You already did, didn't you?" The realization hit like a punch. She hadn't needed space. She had needed distance to run toward someone else. Mark called that evening. "You home?" he asked. "Yeah," I muttered. Mrs. Dalton saw Claire with the guy again. Mark cursed under his breath. "Then this is your sign, man. You need to accept it," I whispered. "I don't know how," he replied. "You start by acknowledging she made her choice. And now you make yours." I closed my eyes. "What choice do I have?" Mark said firmly. The choice to live your life instead of freezing in hers. I didn't answer. But I felt something shift inside me, a small crack in the numbness. That night, I stood by the window, watching the street lights flicker across the pavement. I whispered, "I'll try. I don't know if I'll succeed, but I'll try." The words felt thin, fragile, almost pathetic. But they were the first honest ones I had spoken to myself in weeks. And for a moment, that was enough. When I pulled into the parking lot of the cafe, I still couldn't believe she'd called me. Claire hadn't spoken to me since the divorce papers were delivered, clean, sharp, and cold, like the final cut of a knife. But now she wanted to talk, and for reasons I didn't fully understand. I showed up. I stepped inside and spotted her immediately. She looked smaller than I remembered, her hands wrapped around a cup she wasn't drinking from. When her eyes lifted and met mine, something in her expression cracked. But I didn't sit yet. I wasn't ready to make any of this easy. "You came," she said softly. "You asked," I replied. Keeping my voice steady, she swallowed. "I didn't know if you would. After everything?" I sat across from her. "Why am I here, Claire?" She opened her mouth, closed it again, then tried once more. The gender reveal. "I know I shouldn't have invited you. I shouldn't have done a lot of things. It's one way to put it." She winced. "I deserved that." I leaned back. "You filed for divorce without talking to me. Then I get an invitation to a party celebrating a baby that isn't mine. What did you expect me to do? Bring balloons?" She flinched, guilt shading her face. "I know how it looks." "How it looks," I echoed. "Claire, it looks exactly like what it is." She looked down. "I didn't mean to hurt you like that. You didn't..." Because it felt pretty intentional. It wasn't intentional. I panicked. Everything with Lucas was happening so fast. I thought I had to make a choice, and you chose him. Her eyes glossed. "Yes, I did. I let the silence sit between us. It was heavy, suffocating, filled with everything we didn't say when we still had the chance." She whispered, "But he's gone, Mike." I blinked. "Gone completely?" she said. "He left the night after the party. He said he wasn't ready. He hasn't answered a single call since." A bitter laugh escaped me. "And now, you want what?" "Sympathy." "No," she said quickly, shaking her head. "Not sympathy, I didn't know who else to tell. Everyone else thinks I'm strong enough to handle this. You're the only one who knows the real me." "It's ironic," I said. "Considering you didn't want me." She closed her eyes. "I never stopped wanting you. That's not what it felt like." Her voice trembled. "I'm not asking for forgiveness. I'm not asking you to take me back. I just needed to look you in the eyes and tell you the truth. Everything I did, it was selfish. I see that now." Didn't respond. I wasn't sure how to. She looked at me like she wanted to say more, so I said, "If there's something else, just tell me." She hesitated. "I didn't mean to hurt you the way I did. I thought leaving quickly would make it easier." "You told me you didn't love me," I said. "I know," she whispered. "I thought it would make you let go. That's not how it felt." She ran her fingers along her cup. "I didn't expect any of this to happen. I don't think either of us did. I know I don't deserve anything from you," she said. "But you were the only person I felt safe enough to tell." "That's complicated," I said. "You don't have to be anything," she said. "Just being here. It means something. I came because I'm still trying to understand how everything fell apart." "It cracked slowly," she said. "Maybe we both ignored the cracks," I replied. She stared into her cup. "Do you hate me?" "I don't know," I admitted. "That's fair," she whispered. "I'm not going to pretend you don't exist," I said finally. "But I can't promise more than that." She nodded. "I understand." For the first time since she left, something shifted, small, painful, certain. She let out a breath, as if those few words lifted a weight she'd been carrying alone. I didn't reach for her hand, but I didn't look away. For a moment we sat in the quiet, still two people who once shared everything, now trying to decide if anything was salvageable. I woke to the soft hum of the heater and the distant sound of traffic. Claire's side of the guest room was eerily quiet. I lay on the couch, staring at the ceiling, my mind replaying the conversation from the night before. I shouldn't have let her stay. I knew it. Yet when she had asked, her voice trembling, "Can I just stay for a few days?" I had nodded, incapable of saying no. I couldn't turn her away, even after everything. "Morning," I muttered, dragging myself to the kitchen. The smell of weak coffee was already there. Claire shuffled in, rubbing her eyes. "Hey," she said softly. Her voice sounded smaller than usual, like it had lost its edges. "Coffee's on," I replied, my tone flat. She nodded, taking the cup from my hand. "Thanks." We stood there for a moment, neither of us speaking. I wanted to ask how she felt, but the words felt heavy in my throat. Finally, I couldn't hold it anymore. "Claire, why did you stay with him?" I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. She flinched, staring down at her hands. "It wasn't supposed to go this far," she said. I thought I could handle it, but he's different than I thought." "What do you mean?" Her eyes darted to the floor. "Lucas. He's controlling, jealous, violent. I told him I was pregnant. And he threatened me, Evan." My chest tightened. A strange mix of anger and twisted sympathy bubbled inside me. "So that excuses everything?" I said, my voice sharper than I intended. "No." She shot back, tears forming. "I didn't. I never wanted to hurt you. I didn't know how to leave him safely. He scared me, Evan. He really did." I wanted to tell her to leave. I wanted to slam the door and pretend I wasn't breathing in the same apartment with her. But seeing her so scared, so small, it hurt me in ways I didn't want to admit. "I hate that part of me feels sorry for you," I muttered, almost to myself. She blinked up at me, confusion etched on her face. I don't deserve that. I know I don't." "You destroyed everything," I said, pacing. "And now you expect me to." "What? Let you stay here while he's out there somewhere, controlling you?" She swallowed hard. I don't know where else to go." I thought maybe." Her voice faltered. I closed my eyes, gripping the counter. I wanted to be the strong one. I wanted to push her out, make her face the consequences. But every time I looked at her, I saw a girl I once loved. Someone who had once made me laugh and feel alive. The next few days were tense. Every word she spoke carried weight. Every glance felt like a test of my patience. Yet slowly, she began to slip pieces of the truth. Lucas hadn't just been a boyfriend. He had been a storm she couldn't escape. He had yelled at her, grabbed her wrist, and once even shoved her against a wall when she tried to tell him the truth about the baby. I listened. Mostly, I listened. My pride wanted to tell her to leave, wanted to let her drown in her choices. But some part of me kept softening every time she flinched or shivered when recalling his threats. Then, one evening, Mark showed up at the garage unexpectedly. "Evan, we need to talk," he said, leaning against the hood of my truck. His eyes were sharp, assessing me like he always did. "What about?" I asked, wiping grease from my hands. "Her, Claire. Why are you helping her after everything?" His voice was firm, but I caught the edge of worry. "I don't know," I admitted. "She's scared, Mark. He's dangerous. I can't just leave her out there." "You're letting her manipulate you," he said, shaking his head. "She left you. She lied to you. And now you're rolling out the red carpet for her?" "I hate myself for it," I said quietly. "I hate that I feel anything for her after what she did." Mark's expression softened. "Look, I get it. You love her. But you need boundaries. If Lucas is as bad as she says, then yes, help her but protect yourself too. Don't let your feelings blind you." "I know," I said, staring at the floor. "I know I'm weak." Mark nodded. "You're not weak. You're human. Just be careful." That night, I sat across from Claire at the kitchen table. The baby bump was visible now, small but undeniable reminder of everything that had happened. "I don't know what to do, Evan," she whispered. "I feel trapped, and I don't want to lose you. I don't want him to win. You have to face him," I said. "You can't keep running and expect me to." to just let this happen. Her eyes welled up, and I felt my chest tighten. I'm scared. I know, I said softly. I can't make it better, but I'll be here. I'll protect you as best I can. Her hand brushed mine, tentative, and I flinched at the warmth. At the connection we used to share. I hate that I still want to reach for you, I muttered. Evan. She started but didn't finish. I stayed silent, letting the moment hang in the air. The apartment was quiet, except for the faint hum of the heater. I hated that she had broken me, that I had let her back in so easily. But I also knew that if Lucas was as dangerous as she said, then ignoring her wasn't an option. Over the next few days, I watched her carefully, every flinch, every anxious glance. I hated that seeing her scared softened me, that part of me still longed to fix what she had destroyed. Mark was right, my feelings could blind me, but my heart had already made its choice. By the end of the week, I realized something I hadn't admitted before. I wasn't helping her because I wanted to be a hero. I was helping her because a part of me still loved her, still ached for the life we had. Even as the shadow of Lucas loomed larger and darker with each passing day. The knock on the door came hard, rattling the frame. My stomach dropped. I froze, listening. Who is it? I called, my voice tighter than I wanted. Open up, Evan. It's me. The voice was slurred, jagged. I recognized it immediately. Lucas Clare gasped behind me. I felt her press against my back, small and trembling. Evan. He's here, she whispered, her voice almost breaking. I didn't answer. My hand went to the deadbolt. Go back, I said, keeping my tone steady. Leave. I know what you're hiding. Lucas shouted through the door, pounding again. That baby isn't yours. She's lying. She's trapping me. I swallowed, trying to control the surge of anger and fear. Lucas, step away from the door. Now, don't tell me what to do, he bellowed. Open up, or the door rattled again. Claire clutched my arm, and I felt her panic in every squeeze. Please don't let him in, she begged, her voice shaking. I'm not going to let him in, I said firmly. Go back. You need help, Lucas. This isn't the way, help. You think I need help? He yelled. I need her. She can't take my kid from me. I felt a flash of rage, but I had to stay calm. Claire's safe here. You need to leave, or I'll call the police, he laughed, bitter and unhinged. Police? You think they'll stop me? I know the truth, Evan. She's lying. She's always lying. Claire whimpered behind me. I placed a protective hand on her shoulder. It's okay. I'm here. Just stay behind me. The knocks became pounding. The door shook under his fists. Evan, open this door. You're stealing from me. She's lying about everything. I warned you, I said, gritting my teeth. Last warning. Step away. Suddenly, the door burst inward a crack, and Lucas lunged at me. Reflexively, I shoved him back, but he was bigger and stronger than I remembered. Mark. I shouted. Mark, who had stopped by to check on me after work, had been in the hallway. Without hesitation, he grabbed Lucas, pulling him off balance. Evan, get back. Mark barked, wrestling him toward the stairs. Lucas snarled, fighting both of us. She's lying. She's lying. That baby isn't real. Shut up, I yelled, my hand shaking. Stop it! You don't scare us anymore? Mark held him firm, and I grabbed the phone, dialing 911. We need the police. Now. A man's breaking into my house. Lucas struggled, but Mark's grip was relentless. I swear, if she's lying, I'll enough. I snapped. She's not lying. You're the one out of control. The sound of sirens drew closer. Lucas glanced toward the street, panic flashing across his face. Mark didn't let go. The police arrived seconds later. Lights flashing, voices shouting. Lucas froze, then bolted, pushing past us. Mark yelled, chasing him to the front steps. But he disappeared into the night. I sank to the floor, my back against the wall. Claire collapsed into my arms, sobbing, her face buried in my chest. I'm sorry. I didn't mean he came out of nowhere, she cried, shaking. It's okay, I whispered, my heart pounding. You're safe now. He's gone. She clung to me, trembling. I felt a mix of anger, guilt, and pain. Anger at Lucas, guilt that I hadn't stopped him sooner, and pain that the woman I loved was terrified in my own home. I hate him, I muttered, more to myself than to her. I hate that he scared you. I hate that I couldn't. I stopped. She pressed her fingers to my lips. You did everything you could, she whispered. You saved me. I wanted to tell her it wasn't enough. I wanted to say that nothing would ever make this right, that my heart was broken all over again. But I just held her tighter. Eventually she pulled back, wiping her tears. I'm okay now, she said softly, though the quiver in her voice betrayed her. I'm not okay, I admitted. I can't stop thinking about what could have happened. I can't stop thinking that I almost lost you again. You didn't, she said firmly. You protected me. That's what matters. Mark came in, still tense, his hand on the stair railing. He's gone for now. You both need to calm down. Call me if anything happens. Don't let him back inside. I nodded, still shaken. Thanks, Mark. I don't know what I'd do without you. You'd manage, he said gruffly. But don't make me do this again. I glanced at Claire. She was exhausted, curled into the couch cushions, her eyes heavy. I wanted to stay awake forever watching over her, but I couldn't. I led her to the guest room, guiding her gently. Sleep, I said softly. I'll be right here. She looked at me, a faint, grateful smile flickering across her face. Thank you. For everything, she murmured. I watched her lie down, listening to her slow breathing. Then I sank into the couch across the room, staring at the ceiling. Trying to make sense of the night Lucas had shown me the danger she faced. Mark had shown me loyalty that I hadn't known I'd needed. And I realized something I hadn't admitted before, despite the betrayal. The lies, the pain, I still cared. Even as I sat alone, the hum of the heater filling the silence. I knew that part of me would never let her go. No matter what Lucas did, no matter what threats came, I would still care. And that thought scared me more than anything Lucas had ever thrown at us. The morning started like any other, but Claire didn't make it to the kitchen. I found her on the living room floor, trembling, her hand pressed to her stomach. Claire, are you okay? I shouted, my voice cracking. I don't know, she whispered, panic in her eyes. My stomach, it hurts. I feel dizzy. Stay still, I said, kneeling beside her. We're going to the hospital. Can you get up? She shook her head. I can't. I didn't argue. I scooped her up carefully, calling Mark as I went. Mark, get to the hospital. Claire's collapsed. She needs help now. I'm on my way. He shouted, and I felt a flicker of relief. The ride to the hospital was a blur. Claire leaned against me, sweating, murmuring apologies. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. I'm scared. It's okay, I whispered. I'm here. That's all that matters. At the emergency entrance, nurses rushed out. We'll take it from here. One said, guiding Claire to a gurney. Wait, I said, panic rising again. Can I stay with her? You can follow, the nurse replied, motioning me toward the waiting area. Hours passed in a haze of beeping monitors and hushed conversations. Finally, a doctor emerged. She's stable, but we want to keep her for monitoring. The pregnancy's higher risk, and the stress hasn't helped. I nodded, swallowing hard. Thank you. Sitting by her bedside, I looked at Claire sleeping, her hair tangled around her face, her hand resting on her stomach. I felt exhaustion wash over me. I can't do this anymore, I whispered to the empty room, my voice thick with emotion. I loved you. Maybe I still do. But I can't keep carrying this. This weight. Claire stirred, her eyes fluttering open. Evan, are you? Okay, I will be, I said, forcing a smile. I need a moment to breathe, to see clearly. She nodded weakly. I understand. I'm sorry. For everything. For hurting you? I know, I said. But it's not just about the past, Claire. It's about us. And what's left. I can't ignore the damage anymore. Her fingers brushed mine, tentative, searching. I never wanted this. All of it. I know, I said softly. But it happened, and now we deal with it. You safe, me clear. That's what matters. Suddenly, commotion erupted near the room entrance. Lucas. My chest tightened as I saw him struggling with security, shouting her name. Claire. Don't let them keep me out. I need you. Lucas? I barked. Stay back, now. He ignored me, thrashing. Mark, who had followed me after I called him, grabbed Lucas's arm. Enough, step away before you make this worse. Lucas yelled, wild-eyed. She's mine. I won't lose her. She's not yours, I said, my voice trembling with controlled fury. Not now, not ever. Security restrained him, pushing him away from the room. He struggled, screaming, but it was useless. Claire, I love you. You can't leave me? Stop. Claire cried from the bed, tears streaking her face. Please, just stop. I held her hand, squeezing it. It's okay. He can't hurt you anymore. He's done. It's over. Lucas's thrashing continued until officers finally escorted him out of the hospital, still yelling and cursing. I watched until he disappeared down the corridor. Finally, quiet returned. I leaned back, exhausted, my hand still holding hers. It's done, I whispered. Claire sobbed softly, burying her face in the pillow. I thought I could handle him. I thought I could. You did, I said gently. But you're human. You don't have to be strong all the time. You don't have to do it alone. Her fingers twitched in mine, weak but present. Thank you. For staying. For helping? I stayed because I care, I admitted. Not for him, not for anyone else. For you. And maybe that's enough for both of us right now. We sat in silence, listening to the steady beep of the monitor. I felt the weight of the past weeks finally lifting, or at least shifting. Lucas had shown his true self. Claire had shown her vulnerability. And I had finally seen clearly. The room was still, the night stretching long outside the hospital windows. I watched her sleep, my chest aching with a mix of relief, sorrow, and lingering love. I can't keep carrying this alone, I whispered to myself again. But I can be here, right now, for her. And in that moment, as the night held us both, I realized something crucial. My feelings didn't erase the past, but they didn't have to define the future. I could care, yes, but I could also set boundaries. I could love without letting the pain consume me. Claire stirred again, murmuring in her sleep, and I smiled faintly, tired but steady. For the first time in weeks, I felt a fragile kind of peace. Lucas's downfall wasn't my doing. It was his choices. And maybe, finally, that meant I could start choosing for myself, too. The hospital garden was quiet, the early afternoon sun warm on my skin, a stark contrast to the cold tension I felt inside. Claire sat on a bench, her hands wrapped around her stomach, eyes downcast. Evan, she began softly. I don't know if I can ever make this right. I shook my head, taking a seat beside her. Claire, you don't have to. That's not why I'm here. Her eyes lifted, glistening. I never meant to hurt you. I was lost. I didn't know how to deal with any of it. With him, with us, with everything. I sighed, letting the words settle between us. I believe that. But believing doesn't fix what's broken. You hurt me, Claire. You left me and you lied. Multiple times. That's not easy to forgive. I know, she whispered, her voice barely audible. I thought I could fix things on my own. I didn't realize how much I was hurting you while I tried. I looked at her, really looked at her, and saw the woman I had loved and the mistakes that had changed everything. I care about you. I always have. But I can't go back to who we were. That part of us. It's gone. Tears welled in her eyes and she shook her head. I don't expect you to forgive me. I just hoped you'd understand. That you'd see I never wanted this to hurt anyone, especially you. Understand, I said. My voice steady, but soft. I know you didn't want to hurt me. but understanding doesn't erase the past. It doesn't erase the nights I spent wondering why you left, why you didn't reach out sooner, why. I trailed off, swallowing hard. Why I ran, she asked, voice trembling. I nodded. Yes, why you ran. And why I loved you even when I should have let go. She shivered and wiped a tear from her cheek. I'm sorry, Evan. I really am. I wish I could undo everything. I know, I said. And maybe that's enough for now. What matters is moving forward. For you, for me, for the baby. That's what we focus on. Her gaze softened. Do you? Do you think you can help me? Even if it's not us. I took a deep breath. I'll help you. I'll make sure you're safe, that the baby's safe. But I can't stay as your husband. I can't pretend like nothing happened or like I can go back to that life. It's over for us in that way. Her lips trembled, and she nodded slowly, trying to accept it. I understand. I didn't expect anything more from you. I just wanted you to hear me and to know I never stopped caring in some way, even if I messed it all up. I hear you, I said, my throat tight, and I believe you. But caring and living are different. I can care without going back. I can help without being part of your life the way I was. She exhaled slowly, as if letting go of something heavy. It hurts. To know you can't stay, but I get it. I really do. I reached out, touching her hand gently. I'm not abandoning you, Claire. I'm choosing boundaries. I'm choosing clarity. I can be here when it matters. I can make sure you're not alone with the pregnancy, but I can't be the man I was before. I can't be your husband again. Tears slid down her cheeks, and she laughed softly, a broken, bittersweet sound. You always had to be the reasonable one, didn't you? I smiled faintly. Some of us have to be, even when it hurts. We sat in silence for a few minutes, listening to the distant hum of hospital activity. The sunlight glinted off her hair, and for a fleeting moment, it was like the past and the pain didn't exist. Just her, me, and the fragile quiet between us. I'm scared, she admitted finally. About being alone. About the baby. About everything. You're not alone, I said firmly. I'll be here for what matters. You have to trust that we can do this safely without pretending we can go back. She nodded again, finally letting herself lean back, exhaling fully. Thank you. Evan, really, even if it's not what I wanted, thank you for being honest. For not pretending. For still caring? I care, I said simply, and that's enough. For now, it has to be enough. The sun shifted, casting long shadows across the garden, and I realized how tired I was, yet how clear my mind felt for the first time in months. Saying what I needed to say, setting the boundaries, acknowledging the pain it hurt. But it freed me in a way I hadn't expected. Claire wiped her eyes and managed a weak smile. Maybe we can make this work. Just differently. For the baby. For both of us. It's all I can promise, I said. A fresh start in a new way. Not a return to the past. We protect the baby, and we survive. That's it. Nothing more. She nodded, quiet now, finally at peace with what had to be done. And in that moment, I understood that sometimes love isn't about holding on. It's about letting go with care. The moving boxes were stacked neatly against the walls of Claire's new apartment. The smell of fresh paint and carpet filled the space, a strange mixture of hope and emptiness. Claire hovered near the window, cradling Emma in her arms, her eyes soft but tired. She's beautiful, I said quietly, stepping closer. Claire looked at me and smiled, a faint, genuine curve of her lips. You think so? You think she looks like me? I shook my head, watching Emma's tiny fingers curl around mine when I reached out. She's perfect. Tiny, strong, already stubborn, just like her mom.
Oh.
Claire laughed softly. Thanks for being here, Evan. Honestly, I don't know what I would have done without you. You don't have to thank me, I said, glancing at the boxes I had carried in. I couldn't leave you hanging when you had nowhere else to go. It was the right thing to do. She turned toward me, eyes glistening with unshed tears. You saved me, again, even when I didn't deserve it. I exhaled slowly. maybe you saved me too, by leaving me, by making me face the truth about us, about myself. Claire frowned, confused. What do you mean? I mean, losing you forced me to grow, to understand my worth, to see the difference between love and attachment. I loved you, but I was holding on to someone who wasn't there. You leaving that was painful, but it opened my eyes. She nodded slowly, brushing Emma's tiny hand across her cheek. I never wanted to hurt you, Evan. I know I did. But maybe this is how it had to be, for both of us. I crouched to be eye level with Emma, she cooed, reaching for my nose, and I laughed quietly. You've got strong little lungs, huh? Already demanding attention, Claire chuckled. She got that from her dad, she said softly. Though I knew it was a half-truth meant to comfort me, I smiled, feeling a bittersweet tug in my chest. Well, she's lucky. And you're lucky too. You've got a new start, and she's got you. I do, Claire said, and I'm grateful. For you, for everything you did. I know this isn't easy, for either of us. It's not, I admitted, but it's necessary. You need to live your life fully without me hovering over you. And I need to live mine. Without looking back, she reached out and touched my arm gently. I never expected this, for us two. Be here, calmly, talking, not screaming, not crying, not yelling. Yeah, I said. I guess we've done enough of that already. We've paid our dues in pain. Now it's time for peace. Even if it's quiet, even if it's different. Emma stirred in her arms and I laughed again. See that? She knows. She knows this is the start of something good. Claire smiled, glancing at her daughter with pride and relief. I hope so. For both of us. I stood, dusting off my hands. Well, I think my work here is done. Boxes are stacked, apartment is set, baby's happy. I think it's time I head out. She looked at me, a flicker of sadness in her eyes. You're really leaving? I nodded. Yeah, but I'll be around. If you need help, guidance, whatever, but I can't stay. Not as your husband. Not in that way anymore. She nodded, understanding finally dawning. I get it, and I don't blame you. You've been stronger than you think. I see that now. I had to be, I said, smiling faintly. Had no choice, really. It was you leaving. It was everything that happened. It made me see who I am, who I can be, and now I can finally move on. Claire swallowed hard, eyes watery, but she smiled. I'm proud of you, Evan, truly, even after everything. I felt my chest tighten. Thank you. That means more than you know. And I'm proud of you too. For facing all of this, for surviving, for building a life for Emma. You're doing good, Claire. Really good. She looked down at her daughter and whispered, I just want her to have a good life. That's all that matters. And she already does, I said. And you're giving her that. That's what counts. I walked toward the door, pausing for a moment to look back. Take care of yourself. Take care of her. And thank you for letting me be part of this, even for a little while. Claire nodded, tears now freely flowing. Thank you, Evan, for everything. I stepped out into the cool evening air, letting the apartment door close gently behind me. The streets were quiet, the sky painted with a soft sunset glow. I breathed deeply, feeling a weight lift off my chest. Lucas was in prison. Claire had a new beginning. Emma had a mother who loved her. And I finally had peace. I didn't feel the urge for revenge, for confrontation, for holding on to what was gone. I felt freedom instead, and it was everything I needed. I walked down the street, slow, deliberate, savoring the emptiness and the lightness that came with it. My phone buzzed, but I ignored it. Tonight wasn't about messages or mistakes. It was about the first night in a long time where I could just be. And in that stillness, I smiled. I had survived the betrayal, the heartbreak, and the chaos. I had learned to love myself, to set boundaries, and to accept that some things are meant to end so better things can begin. The story didn't end with anger. It didn't end with revenge. It ended with understanding, with growth, with freedom. And for the first time in months, I felt the kind of peace that comes from truly letting go.